Damn, we have a question here, by the way. It's I think it's related enough to bring on the show. It was from Charles Van Dusen on YouTube. Hi, I'm a fan of Stefan, BA political philosophy, made a career in IT, kids not out of the house. Curious to hear you guys discuss the origins of and reason for male circumcision in Western society. This seems similar to me in that it's a physical intrusion on a child. I know circumcision is a whole fucking issue we could get into, and I don't think we need to do a half hour on it. But I'm curious about your thoughts on it in relation to things like spanking and abuse.
It's evil, evil, totally wrong, totally immoral, and needs to be stopped today.
Well, and the origins are very simple, right? Which is it was an anti-masturbatory device.
Wow.
And no, I'm not absolutely. You can look all this stuff up. I think it was
That's all it is. It's to stop pleasure. That's what it's for.
Yeah, it's simply, when they couldn't demonize human sexuality through religion, they ended up demonizing it by hacking off a third or more of penis skin, and it is an assault upon a child. It is incredibly destructive to the first thing you experience is having the most sensitive part of your body mutilated as a human being. And they've done these studies where, with babies, cortisol, of course, is a stress hormone. It comes out with fight or flight. 6 months after circumcision, babies' cortisol levels are elevated relative to intact babies. It is a brutal, violent, vicious, mutilating assault upon a helpless newborn, and it's a way of branding human beings as livestock to be owned by society, in particular men, because men are the tax livestock of society. We're net tax contributors, whereas women are net tax takers for the most part. So yeah, it's just branding us as we're goddamn owned by society, and we're just a bunch of livestock to produce and shut the hell up. And here's the proof: we took half your cock.
Yeah, Jesus.
It has no place in modern Western civilization. No, none whatsoever. For men, for women, for little boys, little girls, keep razor blades away from children's genitals.
Things you shouldn't have to say, shouldn't have to say. Please don't saw off a third of the baby's penis. Would that be something we could do?
Yeah, it's almost as if the way you're born is fine, assuming you don't have any genetic defects, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just to be clear here, you both view it as conceptually related to things like spanking and childhood abuse. This is an intrusion. It's almost like the same mechanisms that parents are going through in their head with this. It's
but
like,
it's
oh,
worse.
This is a child.
It's worse.
It's even worse.
It's worse.
Damn.
So being beaten is bad. I mean, I was beaten as a child. It certainly is bad. But as a child, it doesn't permanently alter your physiology. I mean, assuming that the beating is not completely psychotic, right? And so, but the mutilation of the penis is, it's an assault upon just about the most intimate part of a man's biology, and it's permanent. And so, yeah, it is to me worse even than, because spanking at least has some, there's some behavioral modification stuff. Like, what the hell is this weird sadism of hacking off babies' penises, half of them? I mean, that's just completely strange, completely surreal, and it's one of these things, like, they look back through the tunnel of time in the future and they'll say, what on earth were you people thinking? That's completely bizarre.
There is can I hit that with a slightly conspiracy theory angle, Anthony?
Absolutely.
It relates to...
Hey, post-Epstein, man, there is no such thing as a conspiracy anymore. That term is going to be completely discredited.
So yesterday I went through the full Red Man Group video, and I was listening to what Stefan was saying. There was something that Stefan said that I don't think people heard. Well, perhaps this is my reinterpretation. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, Stefan. Was that when you spank children, you're breaking their boundaries in such a way as that means they're more likely to be submissive to state control.
Yeah.
Did I just hear that? Was that you said?
Yeah, I mean, just very, very briefly, you're bigger than the child. So all you're teaching the child is might makes right, and then you wonder why the child becomes a bully when the child gets older. You've taught the whole lesson. The biggest person willing to use the most violence gets his way.
So then the genital mutilation at birth of children, I would say, looks an awful lot like an attempt to bind people psychologically and emotionally to the big state, the big authority figure. You submit or else. I mean, originally, this was the type of thing that would be done to, genital mutilation was done to slaves historically before it was done to civilized people. But, civilized people in the eyes of the people at that time. They would say, okay, you're a slave, you're lesser than me. This is where the genital mutilation comes in. It seems to me like it could be a kind of way of binding people to a state submissive mindset.
I agree.
Stefan, is there any data?